Welcome back, trainers, and with PvP around the corner, you may not know exactly what your team is. On the other hand, you may know exactly what you want to use. But for the people who have no idea, I'm going to kind of give you a hint as to what you possibly may want to use, or just a few ideas to get started for your PvP team. And with that said, let's get started. Now, with Niantic tweeting out all this information regarding PvP, I can guarantee you there is pretty much a lot of trainers getting their teams ready in preparation to go up against other trainers. Now, you may be wondering, which Pokemon should I use? What are going to be good counter Pokemon? And what are the movesets should I have as well? Now, take a look at this team here. You have a Lapras that is going to be water and ice type. And then you have Venusaur that can possibly protect it from the weaknesses that it has. Now, if you do not know typings or counters, hold on to your seat because we're going to go for a little ride here. As you can see, we have Lapras's weakness and resistance, the electric fighting grass and rock, resisting ice and water. Right. And then we go over to Venusaur, weakness, that's going to be fire, flying, ice, and psychic, resisting grass, electric, fairy, fighting, and water. Now, Tyranitar is a iffy one if you may want to use it in PvP or not, because look at those weaknesses. Weak to bug, fairy, fighting, grass, ground, steel, and water. On the other hand, resisting, psychic, dark, fire, flying, ghost, normal, and poison. So that is quite the list there. Now, what is going on here with these Pokemon? They kind of help each other out by countering each other's weaknesses, okay? Now, I'm not saying this is the perfect team. I'm not saying use this team. Just an example here, okay? There's hundreds of Pokemon that you can use in different combinations. With that said, I usually build a team around two different Pokemon, and I'm not saying surround it and protect them with everything you've got, but kind of mold your team around that so everything can kind of protect each other. And we're going to get into that, as a matter of fact, right now, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and focus on Lapras and then shift over to Venusaur, then Tyranitar to see how well they can protect each other. So Lapras is going to be weak to electric, fighting, grass, and rock. All right, now let's take a look and see what Venusaur is resisting. Resisting grass, electric, fairy, fighting, and water. So everything on that list except for rock types, it's just going to take neutral damage from that. So you could possibly switch in your Venusaur and hit that rock type with super effective grass moves, right? So there you go. That is pretty much how you're going to counter there. Now, if we look at Venusaur, he's going to be weak to fire, flying, ice, and psychic types. Now, if we go over to Tyranitar and see what it is resisting, that is going to be psychic, check. No ice, unfortunately. Flying, check, and then fire. So it is going to be able to protect that Venusaur to a degree. Now, also keep in mind when we're PvPing in Pokemon Go, you're not going to be able to continuously switch. You're going to have a 60-second cooldown, so keep that in mind as well. Now, the Tyranitar was not resisting the ice, which Venusaur is going to be weak to, right, on that weakness list there. But if we shift over to Lapras, that is in fact going to be resisting ice. So this team is quite nice. They really work well with each other here. Now let's focus over to Venusaur's resistances. Resisting grass, electric, fairy, fighting, and water. Now let's see what Tyranitar is weak against here. Bug, fairy, fighting, grass, ground, steel, and water types. So on the list, it is going to be able to protect Tyranitar with the fighting weakness, the water, grass, and the fairy. There you go. Okay, now let's go ahead and go over that fighting weakness that I haven't really talked about whatsoever. Venusaur will be able to protect both Lapras and Tyranitar from that, but like we said before, you're not going to be able to continuously switch out, and who knows if your Pokemon is going to be able to last that whole 60 seconds. If you didn't use your shield, then more than likely you're probably going to faint. I don't know exactly how long these matches are going to last. That's just my prediction. So yes, fighting and grass type, Tyranitar and Lapras do have to look out for that. But this is where we're going to have to look to their moves, right? So for Tyranitar, what does he have? Fire Blast. So you have some grass coverage right there. And then if we go over to Lapras, well, that has ice moves. Ice is super effective to grass, so you have some sort of coverage to protect yourself to some degree against your weaknesses. Now, one of the things that Niantic implemented into PvP that I'm actually going to enjoy is going to be the fact that you cannot continuously switch. Because if you could, well, that's just going to be ridiculous. The main series games are a bit different. It's a turn-based deal. This one is going to be kind of like a tap at will and use your specials, whoever gets it first, right? So if you've played other mobile games kind of like this where you have a limited number of shields and then the super effective, not very effective neutral damage, you kind of understand that's the direction they went. Except here for Pokemon Go, there's so many more creatures, moves, and weakness, resistances, combinations that it actually makes for a unique battle, which is going to separate this app from the rest for sure. Now we can discuss a little bit about their moves here, okay? We have Tyranitar, who is weak to fairy types, right? Then Venusaur is going to be a part poison type, which is going to be resisting those fairies. Not only resisting them, but it's going to have poison moves, which is going to be super effective to them as well. Things like Gardevoir and Clefable. So if you were to switch in, you would have that super effective Sludge Bomb right there, along with your Community Day move doing massive damage. Make sure if you have a Venusaur with the Community Day move or any Community Day move on any Pokemon, do not switch it. Okay, no matter how useless you think it really is, they're actually pretty darn good for sure, all of them. Anyways, so yes, Venusaur with Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb would be perfect, okay? That is exactly what you're gonna want, all right? Alrighty, so we are over here on the Go Hub, gonna take a look at Tyranitar's moves like this because I do not have all the combinations that you need to see in my Pokemon inventory because I don't have any Fire Blasts, I switched them all. Anyways, but that is gonna be a move you're for sure gonna want. So for your Tyranitar in PvP, Smackdown #1 for sure. Now if you do not have one of those, Iron Tail would be great as well because Tyranitar is going to be Dark type. It's going to be weak to Fairy. Still super effective to that, so that's a bit of coverage there, as well as taking out some of those Rock types as well as Ice. Alright, now if we move down to its charge moves, we have Stone Edge, Fire Blast, and Crunch. Now, Stone Edge is going to be magnificent, but if you have Smackdown already, I don't know. The Smackdown's dealing so much damage, right? And then you have Crunch, which is going to be a multiple charge bar. 3, as a matter of fact. Maybe you're going to be able to wear down your opponent's shield, scare them, keep making them use it, because Crunch is going to charge extremely fast compared to Stone Edge and Fire Blast. Even other charge moves, because it's very short, just 3 charge bar. Anyways, moving on to Fire Blast, that's going to be amazing coverage right there for those ice types, as well as grass. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be good coverage to protect your other Pokemon. But like we discussed earlier, the switching is going to be once every 60 seconds. So you're just going to have to almost look out for kind of your own coverage for the Pokemon that is in the battle. Of course, you want to think about your other Pokemon to help cover them. But just keep that in mind. The switching is not going to be continuous. So moves that I recommend. Well, if you have Smackdown, that for sure, for a quick move. And then Crunch. Crunch is going to be a must-have. And then personally, you may want to go with Fire Blast, all right? You can go with Stone Edge if you want. That one comes in quick, but keep in mind, there is going to be no, oh, I have to hurry up and dodge out of the way because the animation is very fast. There is no thing like that. It's going to be a timer. It's going to give you plenty of time, about 3 seconds as a matter of fact, for every charge move to make an attempt to block it. Now, once you've used your shields, obviously it's probably just going to hit you, and there's going to be no attempt for you to even try to dodge it whatsoever because you already used your shields, and we know that you're not going to be able to swipe back and forth. So there you have Tyranitar. Pretty good lineup of moves to protect the other Pokemon in this team. Now, finally, we have Lapras, which I personally think is going to be a decent Pokemon for PvP. I mean, you can get stuck in bad situations, like I guess a Raikou if you're actually able to use legendaries, which you probably will be. But for the most part, it's fairly tanky and it has a good moveset. Granted, some of them are legacy. We will take a look at those in here in just a second. So for its quick moves, we have Water Gun and Frost Breath. All depends on the type of strategy you're trying to go with. As you can see, clearly Frost Breath is doing more damage, so just take note of that. Now for the charge moves currently, without legacy, we have Blizzard, Hydro Pump, and Surf. So if you don't have a legacy Lapras, I think you may want to go with Blizzard and then Surf. Surf because, well, it's a water move, you're going to get Stab, and it's a 2 charge bar move continuously happening, and you want to break that shield on your opponent. Blizzard is going to be a Stab plus a very strong Ice move. So that's going to be in your best interest, possibly to take out those dragons or grass types that are going to be a threat to you. The grass types, that is. Now, we have the legacy Ice Shard, which is going to be a fairly strong move. So we see the damage is 14.4. Let's look at the Frost Breath, which is going to be 12. So it looks like Ice Shard is going to be doing a little bit more damage. Don't need to worry about that quick move whatsoever. But these are the ones you're going to kind of want. Ice Beam and Dragon Pulse. Personally, Ice Beam is going to be fantastic to substitute that Blizzard because now you got a 2 charge bar move. It's doing pretty good amount of damage and you're going to get Stab out of that. It's going to be charging fairly quick, so that is a plus. And then you have Dragon Pulse. Now, I was thinking about this. Dragon Pulse is going to be nice on Lapras, but what are you going to need that for to take out dragons? You're better off just using Ice Beam. And that's that, okay? If you don't have a, I don't know, Ice Beam Legacy and you have Dragon Pulse, well, then go with that one. But if you have both of them, the one that you want to may take to PvP, possibly Ice Beam. Just my suggestion there. So if you do have a Lapras with the Legacy moves, maybe Frost Breath and Ice Shards mixed with Surf. And if you don't have any Legacy, then whatever quick move there, Blizzard, Surf. Okay? So there you have Lapras, pretty good. And now you can see that the team is actually coming together quite nicely. Well, there you have it, trainers. I hope that helped you out and gave you a little bit better idea and insight on how you should prepare yourself for PvP. Now, if you want to use that team, be my guest. But if you go into battle somebody and you lose with it, hey, don't come back to me. But that's not exactly what I was trying to present that team for. It was just an example for you to have a good idea on counters and Pokemon typings. All right. And also keep in mind this, trainers, I have, let's go ahead and take a look really quick. This Meltdown box, which one more day. So at midnight tonight, I will be able to open it up and actually experiment to see how many I will be able to receive. Previously, it was 9 to 10 Meltan, and with a chance of them running. Personally, never had one run on me, ever. Even Go plus a 900 CP. Okay, it was pretty crazy. So we'll see what happens this time. Reports are coming in, and people are telling me personally that they're catching about 19 to 20, and they're a little bit harder to catch, which I would assume because, well, there's more of them. So they're going to make it a bit more challenging for you to get them instead of just handing them to you. But on the plus side, well, it's all plus, really. I'm going to be able to collect more Meltan candy and possibly get that Melmetal sooner. So with that said, trainers, thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you very soon. Take care.